Well, here we are, Bronco On-The-Go, week 9, Webisode 9. You know, they say, the calendar says, the month of October has like 31 days. That hasn't changed. Why has it felt like a long month of October?
Man. Was that the one we just had?
We're still in it.
We're still in it.
Yeah.
It's gone a long time. Are you sure it's only 31 days?
That's what the calendar says.
Maybe it's like in dog years. Each year is like 7, or something like that.
We started the month of October.
What was the month before October?
September.
I like that month.
A 4-0 month.
I like September.
So we start October with one frame of mind, and we enter November here shortly with almost a diametrically opposite. You normally don't see that kind of flip in college football.
It's been you can't even describe it. Maybe as high as the team and or the supporters and what the optimism look like, it is probably just the opposite from the outside. From the inside, there's still, I think, a lot of resiliency and potential, but man, way up and then way down.
So from the inside, how much of what was going on in September is still going on in October from a positive sense?
Oh, a lot. The team is close. This team, they like each other. There is not division between offense and defense, which sometimes there is. The coaches are really unified, and they love what we're playing for. They love being on the team, and they still think we can win. And they've thought that each week, that they thought they had a great chance to win, and they still do. And so that part's been really fun. Doses of realism about the team and how they're performing have come with each game within this last month, and that's again, post Taysom, this team is a different team, and it's becoming clearer each week. It's hard to predict what will show up next, but that's kind of what I think we found out about everything now about this team, and hopefully we can stage it really well for the next 4.
Again, from the inside, what is getting the most attention? What needs the most fixing, for lack of a better term, heading down the stretch?
There are different subcomponents. So if you start defensively first, tackling is paramount. Our fundamentals.
It's a pretty simple art there. Yeah. I mean, we're talking about
our fundamentals have not held and are not extremely solid, and so that's really at the core of playing good defense is solid fundamentals. So really, tackling is one of those fundamentals. So tackling, penalties, which have remained not only penalties but critical time penalties,
and big yardage penalties.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So. After the play penalties, personal fouls, pass interferences, things that really can swing a drive, those are happening too frequently. So fundamentals, which is really execution, discipline, which is really the penalty part, and then if you kind of turn those around, big plays in addition to that. And normally we're really hard to score on. Very difficult and rarely give up a big play, and so you put all that together and it's equaling points. And so again, back to summarize it, tackle, penalties, big plays, and so those are getting all kinds of attention.
And maybe the Boise game most visibly demonstrated all three areas you just talked about.
Exactly right. And against good opponents, you're not able to do all 3 poorly in the game and then have some short fields or turnovers and not have that just be the outcome. And so, man, I'd love to say that the last 4 weeks weren't necessary for this defense to predict where it really was. Not the first 4 weeks, but now with maybe less consistency offensively and then being called on more, it showed when stressed, those are the things that need to be worked on. Offensively, right now, ball security is paramount because if you look at the Nevada game and the Boise State game, there have been 6 short fields created by ball security and or a little bit of special teams in there, but really ball security is, because one of the short fields was punt return. So ball security first, consistency second, meaning this offense is streaky right now. It can look magnificent on a drive or 2 or 3, and then it can look really stagnant or anemic for the next 2, 3, 4 drives. And so it can be really rhythmical and it can be really flat. And that's kind of where we are. Again, Taysom gave you the chance to, if it was a stalling period, he'll just be Taysom and the chains still move. Mm-hmm. The current offense calls on all players to execute at a higher level. And when we do that, we move it really well. When we don't, a part or 2, then we don't.
there were some rough quarters in the last month
Yeah.
offensively. First quarter at UCF, first quarter
Yeah.
at Boise.
Yeah.
But taken as the whole, the numbers in terms of yards
Yep.
or points are historically numbers you can live with.
Exactly right.
It's just been the fact that the points allowed are where you're not accustomed to having.
The points allowed, exactly right, and then you add whatever ball security issues there are or where those might happen, that magnifies the other. So currently the offense is the strength of our team. And so I love that, and I love the way Stewart is progressing. He's doing a nice job, and man, he's gritty and he's tough and he's productive. So he's doing a really nice job. It would be great also to substantiate now through special teams just consistency in field position. So Scott Ariano is the best part of our special teams. He can change the field, and punting right now is not a bad thing because he can change the field. Our return games, I would say, are adequate at best, and our coverage team, our kick coverage team, actually the last 3 weeks has gotten better. So that's making some mark, but really punting is the highlight of our special teams.
You mentioned Stu. I just ran into Christian Stewart a few minutes ago on campus. Smile, head up,
Yeah.
positive demeanor, and you're needing him to play a lot of plays, take a lot of snaps, stay healthy more than anything. He's putting himself out there in every way right now, and he's got to be your guy.
He is, and I really mentioned to him just yesterday in front of the team, I'm glad he is. He's a fun guy to be around, and he's productive and he's tough. So we've really been careful. If you go back to the Boise State game, part of it because we were trailing so significantly so early, but we've limited really how much we allow him to run, even though he's really heady and will slide. That could even make us harder to defend. Risk versus reward there is pretty close.
Because the defense is lagging, as you mentioned, you decided they needed more of your attention last week.
Yeah.
You said you made the decision right after the previous game to spend the week as the hands-on coordinator, meaning a play-calling coordinator at Boise. Maybe the thought process and maybe the result and how you've adapted your thoughts since.
Just there clearly needed to be more attention, more resources. So in removing myself to become just the head coach at the beginning of the year, I still have tremendous confidence and faith in our defensive staff. Now if you take that staff -1, and so when I was in there that was 5 coaches. As soon as I left, that's 4, with most of the experience stepping out, but real strong capability going forward. Then add resources in terms of what I expected was a defense a little bit farther ahead, so kind of misdiagnosed that. A little more youthful, a few key injuries, and now less resources and less resources together, and a fast tempo offense, which means they're going to play a lot more, just like last year. That led to kind of a perfect storm these last 4 games, which really the first 4, even Virginia and Houston, we saw it start to have a trouble holding a lead or separating because of that, but still felt like we were gaining momentum, and thought we got it back some versus Central Florida. However, at the end of Nevada, I felt a little bit of a shift, and so my presence I thought was necessary for one more resource. Not that here's the superhero coming in to save the day. It was 5 coaches again to help, and really going back to just the existing format, which our guys already knew. And so trying not to be disruptive, but trying to seamlessly integrate to possibly interject some ideas and thoughts, etc. And there was some growth in the staff, and there was some growth in terms of ideas, not in execution, but in growth and ideas that I think will be really important going forward. Having done that, that doesn't mean I'm now completely removing myself, but I am staying as a resource in there to support Nick and to support the staff as he's the coordinator, give the attention I can as a resource because of the defensive component of being pretty inexperienced, and again, there's been some injuries and some changes, so that's why.
What about being on the call sheet as opposed to off?
Critical moments, resource. I felt against Boise, I didn't like not being able to contribute offensively, which I do every play from this is what they're doing. And there was so much of my attention taken to thinking about what only the defense will do. And then there's some critical situations of not communicating well with Robert right before half of this is what I'd like to have done. Let's get out of the half. We just got a safety. And so I didn't like that. And so I have capable coaches. That swung me too far to one side. And I think collectively it hurt some other areas. And so I'm addressing and resourcing myself as a defensive assistant almost, but still able to play my role offensively and to manage the game.
So before the Boise State game, we talked, and you didn't want to make it a line in the sand type game. You didn't want to throw that kind of value or weight to it. What a week later at 4-4, having lost 4 in a row, what weight do you put on Middle Tennessee?
Oh, I think with each successive loss, the impact or the hope or the value of the next game for just to see the team happy and succeed becomes higher. And so I don't think there is a line in the sand game. I don't think there ever is. But I do think that it's great for the program, for the players, and for confidence when they can see the fruits of their labor. And that's what I'm anxious for them to see. And tough opponent, tough matchup.
On the road again.
Yeah.
Far from home.
Long ways away, and they throw the ball really well. They have a mobile quarterback. They have a lot of skilled athletes on the outside. And so next challenge.
You turned the ball over 5 times against them last year, -4 in the margin and 1 big. I don't think you think that's the formula for success this time around.
It is completely different.
Yeah.
They're more experienced in playing really well, and we have a good team, but not playing consistently execution sound or really disciplined at the level we need to. And so if we play undisciplined and lack of execution, anyone can beat BYU. If we play execution sound and disciplined, we have a good team and we can compete really with anybody.
You are playing to get back into a bowl.
Yeah.
And if we can presume for a moment that your season ender is one you expect to get, the next win you get is going to mean something. And that could be this week, right?
It would be fun to see this team continue BYU football, which I don't know anything other than playing postseason, nor do these kids. And so I've acknowledged that quickly to them, but really this is literally practice by practice, meeting by meeting, with zero looking up what might be ahead. There's so much energy being focused just on each thing we're doing together. That really has to be our focus. And maybe we'll look up at the end and say, oh, we got enough wins to keep playing. But if we look up at all right now with our current team, it won't be good.
Okay, I guess it's logo time.
Oh, man. Does anyone have a reference point? What do they have?
Let me dig it up on my cell phone.
Yeah, give me a quick.
That's what you're looking at.
Oh, we got that deal on the top.
You can kind of freelance that.
I'm now attempting the most difficult logo yet of this season, which is not easy, but I mean, you got to keep going, right? No matter what the challenges are.
Wow.
Right now it's becoming, you can feel the tension here in the room as they're wondering just how bad this is going to turn out. Now, for the best part, there's some kind of thing happening here. And there's a leg coming out like that. Why are you laughing? There's laughter here. And there's a wing happening here, like that. And then there's some kind of thing right there.
If this kind of detail goes into the game plan, you're going to be okay.
And a lightning bolt coming out of his nose.
Of course.
How about that? That's not bad. If you knew what it was supposed to be.
Exactly. You know
It's supposed to be this. I would say it's almost an exact replica, except the blue. If I had blue chalk, I could make it. I'm so glad you're going to nicest thing ever. Thank you so much for being here today. Man, that just changed my whole day. It's so nice of you.